Well, hello everybody. Figured I should give you a couple shots of the goats before I got started here. Still got one of them looking at me here, trying to bite my finger. Well, anyway, when you're farming, you'll find that, you're keeping these animals and they're just your livestock, but they become part of your family. And you treat them good, and you treat others around you better. So farming for me is a good activity to just show the value of life and best way to handle others. Heck, you can see they all like me, more so than humans do a lot of times. But in psychology, you'll find there's a lot to do with. Sorry, the goat was just on its hind legs showing off for me. But you'll find that animals have a lot to do with serenity in your life, and you'll find that keeping them around will make a more serene life for you. You'll also find that you can learn a lot from them and how they interact. So humans interact a lot of the same ways as these quote-unquote beasts of the field. Okay, and so I've got goats here, and they all have their own personality. They all have their own quirks. And you interact with them differently based upon their quirks. And so really you just take a little moment in your life, and you take the consideration of each of their individual personalities. And so some of them I can go up to and pet. Some of them are going to run from me. Well, that means I'm not going to try to go pet them if they're running from me, right? I'm just going to pet the ones that want me to pet them. And a lot of them will come up, rub their faces all over me, look for food. If they look for animal crackers. You'll also find that if you apply this to life here, look at that boy climbing up my back. I don't know if you saw that or not. What are you doing? Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. I ain't got no food right now. But when you apply this in the workplace, for example, okay, let's say all these goats were co-workers, and the herd queen, which is the leader goat, they usually have a herd queen, which is just the one that directs where the herd goes. The herd queen's the boss. And so you see how the boss interacts with the little goats, and sometimes you'll see that herd queen will headbutt the next biggest goat quite often, but will not headbutt the other goats that are much smaller than it, just the ones that are close in size. And the ones that are a little smaller headbutt the ones below them. So they've got their own bureaucracy. They've got levels of management that they've created, and levels of which they expect people to interact with each one of them. So if I go in and I don't give the herd queen food first, then the others, they ain't getting food, because she's going to headbutt them out of the way, okay? And so you'll find that humans act the same way, but good, bad, and indifferent. You can't expect a supervisor or a co-worker to act differently than goats would in the field. And so if you have a supervisor who you challenge constantly, there's going to be headbutting going on. There's going to be some problems. Unless you reestablish yourself as the supervisor, right? Okay. So, and it's a hierarchy for dominance. And so when you break down what humans really want in their life, you can replace the word status with dominance. And a lot of psychologists, they say, you want status in your life. You want these status symbols. I just look at it as you want herd dominance. You want to be the number one person in the herd. So you can see these two are trying to establish dominance. Okay? And who gets to come up here and annoy me is the dominant one. But anyway, just think about equating these little things. And if you interact with the world and nature and life outside of the city and the workplace and just other humans, you'll see the parallels. Humans are not much different. There is languages and stuff like that, but I can understand when these goats, when they start bleating at me, I know what they want most of the time. Okay, I know what they want. This one just wants to eat my sleeve for some reason. But I can tell their language. I can tell what they're doing. When you get there, when you interact with the world and you see this grass come up in the spring and die off in the winter, you can tell that your life is cyclical as well. Everything has a cycle. A day has a cycle. A month is a cycle. A year is a cycle. Everything has a cycle. Your life has a cycle. You will have times where you feel like the dead of winter, and there will have times when you feel the heat of the summer. So I do think there's a time and place for everything, and I think that you'll learn a lot about psychology just by observation of others, and you'll find that you just being a passive observer will get you a lot farther in many situations. Be quiet with what you think, and it will get you a lot farther in many situations than will raising a fuss about every small thing that goes on. Have a great one.